Hi everyone, welcome to class. My name's Jessie. Today we're going to be doing a myofacial release for the upper body. And unfortunately, we're not going to get to the whole upper body. There's so much you can do. The first class that I made was like almost 2 hours long. And so we're just going to hit some specific points today that I think are a little tender on everyone. We're going to get the pec minors, some other chest muscles. We'll work on getting the traps and the deltoids and some of our back muscles, even some of our like upper glute muscles, because those can have a lot to do with just tightness in general in your back. So we'll be working our way from the front body to the back body. You'll want some kind of ball. So you can do tennis ball, you can do golf ball even. Lacrosse balls are great. Even the Kong balls that you put peanut butter in for dogs, those work. So get creative. I'm gonna use this double ball because, to be honest, I can't find my single one. And these are really great when you're working with things like the spine because you can get both sides at once. I'm gonna pretend that I don't have this and we're gonna do both sides separately because I'm assuming a lot of people probably have one ball. So don't worry about the fact that mine's a double. We're gonna pretend like it's single and we'll do one side and then the other side. And that is it. Let's go ahead and get started. So to begin, you can just put your ball to the side for a moment. Just take a comfortable seat wherever you are and simply close your eyes. And just take a couple deep breaths. Taking a nice long inhale through your nose. An easy exhale. Do that a couple more times. Really work towards inflating your inner body as you breathe in. Let your inner body expand even more as you breathe out. Relax the muscles in your jaw and your face. And allow the tops of your shoulders to get nice and heavy. And just one more time, breathe in. Breathe out. Blink your eyes open. And we'll start just by giving our jaw a tiny bit of self-love. So you'll just take your hands up towards your ears, right where your jaw kind of connects with the rest of your skull, and just pinch a little bit. So you're running, I like to use either my index fingers or my middle fingers or both, and just sort of slide them down the muscles right above your jawline. There's a muscle there that's kind of big. You can do little circles on it. Today we'll be hitting some pressure points that feel quite sensational. And so part of our work today is going to be keeping ourselves soft, right? And not reacting to the sensation by tensing up. So simple things like taking a deep breath and just relaxing your jaw are huge. It goes a really long way. Go ahead and work your way down your jaw towards your chin. Still kind of squeezing in and giving yourself a little bit of pressure. Almost at my chin now. I'm just gonna do a little bit more love down there. And then take your hands and squeeze in along those muscles along your jaw as you take it all the way back up towards your ears. And then slowly release. Release your hands. Let's go ahead and come down to our belly. We'll start with our left side so that you guys can see me since I'm facing this way. And we're gonna start with that pec minor muscle. It's the muscle that is sort of like between your armpit and your chest muscles. It can get very, very tender. And you're gonna just take the ball there. So I'm about a couple inches inside of my shoulder. And I'm just lying on the ball, that's it. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna take our left hand behind our back and then press your shoulder down towards the floor. My right hand is grounded. And I'm just gonna use my right hand to kind of guide my body. I'm just gonna roll side to side for a moment until I find just a little bit of sensation. You should probably be able to feel something. It's sort of like you're rolling up and over a muscle. And don't be afraid to move the ball, right? It takes a little bit of exploration in order to find the right spot. And then once you find it, you're just going to rock side to side. And maybe move the ball down a little bit and continue to rock side to side. And if it's too intense, you can pick up your upper body a little bit more so you're not putting quite so much weight on it. The more weight you put on the ball, the more intense the sensation is going to be. And then let's turn a little bit towards the right and press that left shoulder towards the ball. And then continue to roll. My right hip is sort of going down toward the floor and then lifting up off of the ground. And I'm bending and extending my right arm a little bit. Okay, take one more breath here. And then find a tender spot, right where that, for a lot of you, it'll be right where your pec minor is. If you need to move the ball down a little bit, go for it. Just take a second to find that nice tender spot. Then you'll just let yourself fold. So if you want, you can place your right hand down, bring your forehead down to your hand, and just fold into the ball. And I want you to use your breath. So every inhale, breathe into the ball. And every exhale, let yourself soften down. And take your right elbow and lift it up towards the ceiling. So you'll put even more pressure into the ball. And then let it come back down towards the ground. And again, lift your elbow up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to move my ball in a tiny bit. That feels good. And then let it come back down towards the ground. And then again, back up. Let's take one more breath here. And then slowly go ahead and release. You're going to take the ball right up below your collarbone. So it's about an inch underneath your collarbone. And I want you to take that ball right there and bring it in towards your sternum a little bit more. So you're pretty close to the center of your chest, but you're still over to the left. And from there, you're just going to lie on the ball. There should be like a pretty spicy spot you're going to find here. There's a lot of bones here with tiny little muscles in between, so it might feel a little tender. There's also fascia plays a really big role in what we're doing with this technique. Fascia is that lining that keeps your muscles in place. Basically, it gives your muscles shape. It holds them where they are, but the fascia itself can get pretty tight and stiff, and this is a really great way to soften that fascia a little bit. Ooh. All right, so once you're here, if you want, you can rock from side to side again a little bit, explore. If you find a really tender spot, let's just hold. You can relax your head down. I'm just holding my microphone up so it doesn't get all wacky on you guys. Take one more big breath in. Good, and then slowly, let's go ahead and unwind. All right, so from here, we're gonna take the ball right to we're gonna work with our deltoid now. So your arm's gonna come down by your waist. The ball's gonna come towards the top of your shoulder. So right up at the top. Take your right hand to the ground. And I like to kind of walk my knees in a little so my butt sticks up in the air slightly, tuck your toes under. And that way you can sort of straighten and push into your toes and roll forward. and then pull yourself back over that ball. And take your left hand underneath your left thigh. You might even need to turn your body to the right a little bit. And then again, lean forward and then roll back. Let's do that again. Lean forward, and I found a pretty tender spot here. I'm putting quite a bit of weight on my ball, resting my left hip on my left arm. And I'm just going to pause here. Let your forehead come down to the ground, and you can press into your right hand and rock side to side a little bit. Let's take 3 deep breaths into that spicy muscle. Okay. And we'll continue to work our way down. So if you pick up your knees and your hips, inch them forward, and then roll your body forward a little bit more. There's no graceful way to do this. And then you can roll forward and backwards on the ball again. Good. I'm going to use my hand to inch my ball down so I don't come out of the camera range. And then again, once you find a sensitive spot, I just want you to stop and hold. Okay, so now I'm at the bottom of the deltoid at this point. Take a big breath in. Breath out. Good. Take the ball even further down your arm. If you want, you can just lift up. Let's take it just above the elbow, and we're just going to give ourselves another roll up and down your arm. So now my right forearm is on the ground, and I have a little bit less weight on the ball, more weight on my right forearm and my left hip, and you're just going to roll forward and backwards, like you're crunching your left waist off the ground and then lengthening it forward. And now I have pretty good range of motion from the shoulder all the way down towards the elbow. This feels quite nice. And I know that if you're working with a single ball, your ball might roll off to the side. You might lose it a couple times. If it's scooting out quite a bit, you can try wrapping it in something that can help. Ooh, this is getting really intense. Okay, let's stop just above the elbow. There should be a pretty tender spot there. You can relax your forehead if you want. Let's take 3 big breaths. All right, and slowly release. We're going to take that ball down even more, getting it into the back of our forearm. Okay, so you'll now go ahead and you can have your hips face down. We might move from here. You're on your right forearm, and that ball is just up by your elbow, and you're just going to lean your hips forward so it rolls towards your wrists, and then lean back. And so you're still pressing your forearm down. Your right arm's working a little bit. Try to engage your right shoulder. We're not here for that long. And then I want you to find a nice sensitive spot, and then you're going to release your hips down onto it. So you're releasing the muscle in the back of your forearm here, top of your forearm rather. And then if it feels good, you can inch a little bit forward and then pause again. Take one more breath. Okay, and then give it one more last roll. And we're going to slide that ball forward again. All right, take your forearm to the ball, and you're just going to roll forward like this. So I'm propped up on my right forearm now, kind of like a sphinx pose, and we're just going to roll out the forearm. And then from here, you can turn your thumb down. Your pinky side of your hand can lift up a little bit and then roll again, so you get a little bit further towards the inside. Okay. Nice. And then from here, bend your elbow. I want you to lower down to or walk your elbow forward a little bit more. You're going to take the ball underneath your elbow. Actually, I lied to you guys. Really come up and do like a high sphinx. This makes a lot more sense. Support yourself with your right arm. That ball is underneath your elbow more or less, and you're gonna push down into the ball as you roll forward. Really stretch your elbow forward. You can take your hand behind your head and then pull back. You're pressing down into the ball, so getting a nice tricep release. Oh, that feels amazing. So keep rolling forward and backward. So my ball is actually naturally moving. Don't know about yours, but it's coming up higher towards my armpit. We want that anyways, so just let that happen. Okay, and then you're gonna stop when the ball is just at the top, almost towards your armpit. And you're just gonna allow yourself to rest here, get heavy into the ball. Okay, and then from there, bring the ball up even higher so it's in your armpit. Rest a little bit. Turn your body towards the right. So you're now sort of in a side lying position. I want you to roll forward towards your face and then roll back. You can use your right arm for support and roll back. Go ahead, and let's move that ball down towards the armpit even more. If it's right in the middle of the armpit like mine is right now, you're probably not going to feel a whole lot. Roll back because we don't have enough space to push down onto the ball, but we're going to move it in a second and it will get there, trust me. Okay, and then from here, we're going to go down again. This is where it's going to start to feel like quite a bit. So now I am at the base of the armpit. I can feel like the top of my rib cage kind of touching the ball. And now you're going to do the same thing. Lean forward and lean back. And lean forward and back. And again, if there's a spot that feels really sensational for you, I want you just to stop there and breathe with it. Be sure that you're relaxing the rest of your muscles. Okay, roll that ball down one more step. Oh my gosh, and there's something so tender. I'm literally going to stop right here. Okay, 3 big breaths. One more big inhale. And release. Whew. I got spicy real quick. All right, we're coming over to the other side, you guys. Take the ball to your right pec minor. All right, and then from here, you'll use your left arm for support. Your right hands can come behind your back, and you're just gonna start to roll side to side. And just explore your right side. And what I find is that the more you hold, the longer you stay in one position, the more intense the sensation gets. So sometimes you have to move around a little bit for you really to feel the sensation kick in. Other times you're like, wow, I'm on it right away. Okay. And just explore a little bit. You can move the ball around, maybe bringing it closer down towards your chest. You can try rocking up and down. And start to get a little bit wider range of motion. So really kind of lean and look to the left so the top of your right shoulder comes down, and then press your left shoulder down towards the floor. And then twist towards the left. So you're really giving it a nice roll out here. Okay. Then you can stop for a moment, try to find a nice tender spot and play with lifting and lowering your right elbow. Take a deep inhale. Let yourself get even heavier with your exhale and just pause. So once you find a nice tender spot, I want you just to hold for a couple breaths. Try to relax your jaw, let your physical body just melt down into the ball. Give it one last roll out. And then let's take that ball closer to the sternum. And I don't know if I'm sore from the other day, it's just really tight in there, but for me, I'm feeling something right away here. So I'm not working with the ball that's on the top, the one that you can see better. I'm working with the ball that's below that. So I'm like right above my breast, basically, and it's pretty close to my sternum. So just inside my sternum, and maybe 2 inches down or an inch below my collarbone. And if you want, you can make just a shelf with your hands, let your forehead come down. If you want more sensation, you can tuck your toes under, just kind of inch forward a little bit, and then let your heart get really heavy onto the ball. You can swish side to side a little bit, kind of taking the heads of your shoulders and just dipping them towards the ground one at a time. All right, and release. Let's take the ball to our shoulder, right shoulder. So the top of your right shoulder is going to come down. You're going to take your right hand underneath your right thigh or hip, and then lean a little bit towards the right. So you're pushing into your left hand. Your hips can lift up a little bit. And you're just going to lean forward and then lean back, sort of bending and extending your knees. And when the ball is really far forward, it's a little hard to move here. I understand that. Once we come down the arm, it'll get easier. Find a nice sensitive spot on your deltoid, and you're just going to hold. Take a really big breath in. Big breath out. Good, and we'll come up a little bit more, making our way down the arm, roll forward, roll until you find another sensitive spot, and then pause. Deep inhale, and exhale. Okay. Then we'll start to roll forward and back till you get a little bit longer range of motion. Ooh, super sensitive. Okay, so your hips can lower and lift, and by that, you're going to put a ton of pressure onto the ball, which might be too much for you. If it is, you can keep your hips down and kind of turn your body side to side. Let your right arm be free and really roll your right shoulder all the way down and then all the way up. Otherwise, if you like the really, really intense pressure, you can let your hips lift. All right, and then we're going to take the ball down, oops, even closer. Oh dear, hold on. My microphone thing just fell out. There we go. Take the ball further down your arm, and you'll start to get towards the elbow. And we're just gonna hold once you find a sensitive spot towards your elbow. And you're still above the elbow though, and then you can just relax for a moment, take a nice big breath, maybe rock side to side a little bit here. One more inhale and exhale. Okay. Let's take the ball further down. We're going to work with our forearm now. So you can lift your hips up a little bit, hands come down, and you're just gonna rock forward and backward up the length of your forearm. Oh, oh my God, I just found a really good spot. Okay, so once you find your tender spot, allow your hips to get heavy, and you're just gonna pause here. If it's too much, you can lower your left hip down, take your forehead to the ground. All right, continue to roll out your right forearm. We'll take that ball right down to the wrist area and lie down on it one more time. So again, just finding one last pressure point. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then slowly release. Oy. All right, take that block out in front of you. Or excuse me, ball. So used to saying blocks. We're gonna do our forearm really quickly. You're just gonna roll it forward, roll it back. So now working with the underside of your forearm. Couple nice big rolls. Try turning your pinky towards the ceiling, your thumb down so you get the inside. All right. Yeah, and then go ahead and turn your elbow forward. Taking the ball right out in front of your elbow. You'll sit up nice and tall like a Sphinx pose. Take your elbow to the ball and then reach your elbow forward as you roll your right shoulder towards the ground and then come right back up. Roll forward and come back up. We're getting into our tricep now. We use a lot of triceps in yoga, so if you're a little bit tender, that's okay. And really work on pushing the ball down and then pulling it towards you. And pushing the ball down and pressing your elbow forward so you get quite a bit of sensation. And once the ball comes right up towards the top of your tricep, just the base of your armpit, you're just going to hold here. Let yourself lie heavy. Deep inhale. And then take your left hand to the ground. Open your body up towards the left so you're in like a side lying position. You can stay heavy here for a moment. If it feels good, try on rocking back and forth. Everyone's body is going to be different here, you guys, so let yourself be creative here. I'm also not used to teaching this. I've done this myself quite a bit, but I don't teach it out loud. And there's, for those of you who are teachers, you probably know you can be an expert in doing something yourself, but the second you try to explain it, it kind of comes out all funky. So pardon me if you're a little confused. I think the best thing to do today is just to be intuitive, just move and feel. And hopefully some of the things I suggest feel really great. And if not, just keep moving on your own. Do what feels good. All right, we're going to slide this ball up even further up and towards the armpit area. And again, you can rock forwards and backwards. Because it's not that big and our armpit is naturally lifted off of the ground, it might not feel very intense. We're going to move through this though, so don't worry. Let's come back into center, move it down more. Okay, so now we're getting into a pretty tender spot. I have the ball now at the bottom side of my armpit, kind of top of the rib cage. You can rock forward and backwards again. Ooh. And once you find a spot, you're just going to sit there. And let yourself melt into the ball. Move the ball down just a little bit more. It should feel pretty tender. You can rock forwards and backwards until you find the spot. You'll know what I'm talking about once you find it. Ooh, so we've got a lot of connecting soft tissue between the shoulder and the chest muscles that are just talking to us a little bit, most likely. Take one more big breath. Okay, and then softly go ahead and release. Nice job, you guys. All right, so we're gonna come down onto our back. You can just roll over where you are so you guys can see me when I do my first side. I'm going to flip myself around. Let's begin with the ball underneath the base of our skull. So you have this thing called the occipital ridge, which is right here. It's at the top of your neck, the base of your skull. So if you feel your head, it's where like your thumb would be. You can kind of grab this ledge right at the base of your head. We're gonna start there. So let's start with the left side. You'll take your ball right up to the occipital ridge, the space that's right at the base of the skull. So you can put it there. It might slide down a little bit, that's okay. And then from here, you're just gonna play with tucking your chin towards your chest and then letting your head fall. And I have my right hand behind my head for a little support. You can try that on. And try turning your head all the way to the left and then all the way to the right. When you turn it to the right, the ball you feel like you're coming off the ball a little bit. Then turn your head to the left again, roll right back onto that ball. And let your head get really heavy. Turn it to the right and to the left. And then find a nice sensitive spot. It might not feel like super sensitive. It might just feel good. But just pause there. Relax your face. Deep breath in, and breath out. Good. And release. Take the ball right up to the top of your trap. So I want you to lift up like you're doing a crunch, and then place the ball right at the top of your shoulder, and then lie down onto that. Ooh. All right, so it's tucked under there. I know that my ball's a double, but my ball's actually like tucked under the top of my shoulder. So getting into your trap muscles, those really tight ones that everyone needs massage while they're at work. So from here, extend your left arm forward towards your left heel, and then reach your left arm all the way up, oof, and overhead, and you should feel your muscle being massaged by the ball as you do this. So you'll just take a couple rounds of that. Then take your left hand to your left armpit and draw circles in the air with your left elbow. And if you feel like you need to scooch up a little bit, I want you to lift your hips up, tuck your tailbone, or not tuck your tailbone, untuck your tailbone so you arch your back off of the ground, and then push into your feet. So you should feel the ball slide down your back towards your feet. And that just added quite a bit of sensation for me. Sometimes the ball will just start to scoot out. So you want to bring it back under there. Ooh. All right, a couple more big circles with your left arm. Good, and we'll continue to work our way down a little bit more. So once again, I want you to lift your butt, roll towards the ball, so push into your feet, move towards the back of your mat, and then lean into that ball. Oof. All right, and then same thing, move your elbow in nice big circles. So you should be just to the left of your spine here. And we'll just pause. So I want you to find a spot that feels pretty sensational. And you'll just pause for a moment. Allow yourself to get nice and heavy. Take a deep breath in. Breath out. And slowly go ahead and rock to the right. So lean over to the right and then lean to the left. And I'm sort of sliding my upper body right now. So I'm pushing into my feet. My head's grounded and I'm just rolling side to side on the ball. Let's take one more breath like this. Oh, that feels good. Okay, go ahead and release that. Take your ball, you're gonna roll to your left hip. I want you to prop yourself up for a moment to that left forearm. You're gonna take the ball right up to, like, your hip bone is here, my hip bone's here. And I go back and then stick that ball like right underneath the top of my hip bone and lie down on it. And from there, I'm gonna roll forward, until I'm feeling some serious sensation. So we're working with the muscles that are around the pelvis, basically. And so the ball on this side is the equivalent of being like right here, you guys. So get it right on the side of your hip and scooch forward maybe a little bit more, and then allow your hip to get really heavy. Okay, and just let yourself soften down into that ball for a moment. You can try on rocking side to side, front and back, rolling around, kind of whatever feels good. I like to leaning back here. It feels really good for me. Keep your face nice and soft. And just notice if you're straining the rest of your body. So I just had my head propped up. It didn't feel great on my neck. And if you just let yourself lie down. Maybe bring in motion again, rocking forward. And rocking back. Okay, and softly roll all the way over onto your back again. You'll lower that ball down right onto the piriformis muscle. So the muscle that's below the back of your pelvis, it's like at the top of your glute. And you're gonna let yourself get heavy onto the ball here. You might feel like you're leaning to the right because your left hip is propped up, your right hip is not. I want you to push into your right foot so your right hip is also off of the ground. And then allow your left knee to fall out to the side. Just rock over to the left for a moment. Ooh, yum. And then rock over back to center, knees face up. Open up your knee and close your knee. And open and close. So our upper glute muscles can get quite tender. They're sort of hard to get into on your own, like without manually getting in there with a ball or somebody massaging you. So this is really wonderful to do from time to time. All right, we're gonna keep moving, you guys, for time's sake. Come back up to center. Our last one on this side, we're gonna roll the ball up to our lower back. I want you to find the very center of your lower back. And you're to the left of your spine still. And all you're gonna do is let your hips get heavy for a moment. And then you're gonna curl your hips up like you're tucking your tailbone under. And you can kind of roll up and down your lower back a little bit. And then play with lowering your hips and then tucking your tailbone under and lifting your hips, getting heavy into the ball. And lower and lift. And breathe. I want you to find, a lot of us get achy lower backs, right? So find a spot that normally feels kind of uncomfortable to you, and then explore that. You can let your knees fall all the way to one side and then the other, Just allow yourself to explore a little bit and then be intuitive about it. Once you find a place that's speaking to you, just stop there. And even though this requires a little bit of work, a little bit of attention, do your best to soften what you can. And let's take 3 more breaths. Okay. Slowly release. Oh, nice job, you guys. Take the ball up underneath your right side at the base of your skull. Okay, and you'll simply do the same thing we did on the other side. Turn your gaze all the way to the right and all the way to the left. Just find a little bit of movement. You can play with tucking your chin in and letting your head drop back. If your ball rolls away from you really easily, just find one spot and let yourself hang out there. Take a deep breath in, breath out, and release. Lean up like you're doing a little bit of a crunch and stick that ball up and into the top of your trap. And then if it's not low enough on your muscle, you can just move your body up the ball a little bit towards the back of your mat. Okay. Whew. Take your right hand down by your right hip and then reach it all the way up and over. Wow, you should feel something here. So if your ball is not underneath your back enough, you might not feel enough. So I want you to really tuck your ball underneath your shoulder. Or not even your shoulder, really. It's more like your mid-upper back. And then breathe as you move your arm up and down. Relax your jaw. And then take your hand to your armpit and just draw circles in the air with your right elbow as big as you can. Keep the back of your head heavy on the floor so you're not straining your neck. Take your elbow in the opposite direction. You can really work towards picking up your elbow as high as you can, putting a little bit more pressure into the ball. And if you find that your ball's scooting away from you a little, like mine is, I'm going to push into my feet, lift my hips, scooch back towards the back of my mat, and then let my lower back sort of flatten again. So the ball just moved down my spine a little bit, closer towards my shoulder blade, and keep rolling in circles with that right arm, or take the arm up and down, all directions, whatever feels good. You can try rocking a little to the right and to the left. And once you find a nice tender spot, you guys just pause. Let yourself get heavy. And then maybe rock a little side to side. I just picked up my hips and moved them a couple of inches to the left. And then rocked over my whole body towards the left side of my mat, still pushing my right shoulder into the ball. And then you can scooch towards the right again. So you're rocking the ball side to side a little bit along that trap muscle. It feels quite good and quite painful if I do say so myself. One more deep inhale. And exhale. All right, nice work, you guys. Come off of the ball. You can grab it in your hand. We're gonna come up onto our right side. Take your ball right onto the side of your hip. And from here, there we go, whoops. From here, I want you to find the fleshy part of your hip. And we're just gonna lie down on it. Whoops. All right. So you can feel the top of your hip bone, the side of your hip bone. And then once you get down on it, I want you to roll your body forward a little bit so that you come right down onto that nice sensitive spot on the side of your hip. And you're gonna roll forward and roll back a couple times. And roll forward and roll back. And try moving the ball down closer to your glutes if you're not feeling enough. If you're already feeling a lot, just stay where you are. Breathe with it. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Right. And then slowly release. You can rock towards your back once again. Lift your hips. We'll come onto the piriformis. So find the back of your sacrum, then come down a little bit towards the top of your glute. And bring your feet hips distance apart. Try not to let your left hip fall all the way to the ground. And then roll your right hip towards the right, letting your right knee open. And then come back up to center. And then just play with this. Play with your own movements and what feels good. I love to open and close that right knee. It also can feel good to rock forwards and back with the knee open. You can play with tucking your tailbone under and then pressing it towards the ground to rock up and down on the muscle. Okay, and then let's find one of your spots and hold. Take a couple big breaths. Allow your hips to get really heavy. Take one more inhale. Exhale. And slowly make your way back up to center. Oof. Last one, you guys. Lower back. You'll take that ball into your mid-lower back. Your back is so long, obviously. And I filmed this class already, and I filmed it where we made our way all the way up the spine, and it literally took an hour to do just that on both sides. So you can do this along your entire back. I'm just trying to hit like our main points. But once you find that muscle that lines your spine, right, your QL, you can either lower your knees side to side, play with that, or tuck your tailbone under like you're scooping your tailbone so your lower back pushes into the ball, and then you can allow your hips to fall again. And then exhale as you round your spine, press into the ball. Inhale to let your hips fall towards the ground. Take a couple rounds on your own, taking any kind of movement that feels really good. Continue to relax your jaw. Hold and take 3 more breaths. Softly release. All right, you guys, let your knees fall from side to side, taking the ball out. Oh, and they can just roll to one side and press your way up into a seat. All right, that is all she wrote. So take a moment to just feel your body. Hopefully that feels good. I know that that can be painful sometimes, so if it's really tender, you guys, I encourage you to do it more. Your body talks, and if you have a lot of really intense pressure points, just do it more often. You don't have to do the whole body, right? We just did half the body, and it took nearly an hour, so we didn't even do the whole thing. But if you know, like, oh yeah, my traps or my deltoid or my my hips, my piriformis muscles, that's like on fire. Just take 5 minutes out of your day and do it. You can always have your block nearby when you're already on your mat practicing, and just lie on it for a couple minutes afterwards. So there's so many benefits to doing this. You can probably feel it already. You might be a little sore. You might be sore. That's okay. And if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I'm not a professional in this. This is just what I do. So my apologies if I wasn't being extremely clear with directions. And I hope you followed along okay, and have such a wonderful day. We'll see you guys next week. Mwah.